Hi, this is Brooke Medicine Eagle, and I think a lot about the best things that I can offer you. And I like these kind of informal sharings. Uh, I don't have to be perfect. I can just visit with you. I think of sitting with you in a comfortable living room or around a fire outside. And what feels really important right now is to talk with you about health. So this first one, and there'll be a series, the first one is called Time for Healing. And I asked White Buffalo Woman in prayer about a new way that I can serve that's more appropriate to this time in my life. You know, not so much dragging heavy suitcases around the world, although I'll still do some of that. But her answer to me, especially when I asked that it be good not only for me, but for all my relations, her answer to me was health. Good health. And that made sense to me and also really appealed to me as a person, because let me tell you a little bit about myself as a healer. I've had 7 decades of experience, and I've really remained in remarkably good health by paying good attention over that time. I do have some, natural genes of long-lived people, but I have really paid attention myself. And, it all started in my childhood. We lived on a self-sufficient ranch in the backcountry. And my brother Tom and I, did the classic thing of trying to heal bird wings that were broken. We'd find a little bird that was injured and take a popsicle stick or a little twig and with tiny string wind it on their wings and work to heal them. Sometimes we succeeded, although birds are very delicate and sometimes they leave. But we learned a lot and we loved them so much. We would raise tiny orphan birds and animals. And also, I loved getting my hands into the vet work we did on the ranch. We were miles from nowhere. We had to do our own healing work with the animals. So whether it was in some kind of surgery and blood splashing all over or any kind of thing that we did, I was totally interested. And I sometimes think that I must have been a healer or a medicine person, as in a doctor, in many lifetimes, because I so naturally was drawn to this. And when I was a kid, I thought that, the way I thought of it anyway, was that I would be a nurse. And that lasted for a good while, although my mom laughs when she tells me about this. She said that when I was little, I was very precocious, and I popped up to her one day and said, Mom, I'm going to be a nurse, but I don't like spending time around sick people. And she said, I don't know then about being a nurse. And over time, I actually thought about that. And I thought, what I'd really like to do is be a premature baby doctor or a premature baby nurse, because they're not sick as such. They just really need love and support and help to become their full self. And over time, I've realized that's my way of working, is not so much with people that are deeply ill, but taking sort of our normal gang, and there's a lot of times that we aren't so healthy, and taking us from where we are to higher and higher health and wellness and well-being and spirituality and wellness at all kinds of levels. So I ended up around high school time thinking, I'm going to be a brain surgeon. Oh boy. And then when I got into college, I turned more towards psychology, probably to try to figure out something about my own crazy childhood. Anyway, I graduated with a master's in psychology and mathematics. And then I went on and got very much more connected to natural healing in many different ways. And then literally toward shamanic and energetic healing, which is much more where I am these days. But I've always been very connected to the physical world and the physical body. I ended up in one of the really great influences in my life was I ended up in San Francisco in the early days, all the hippie days. And there was this wave of health food and herbs I remember one day I was eating some kind of sugar. I don't remember what it was. Could have been candy or something. And this one hippie friend of mine went, "What are you doing? Don't you know sugar's bad for you?" And of course, as a child from the reservation, I had no idea about that. But I started waking up at all kinds of levels around what was actually healthy for me. And so I went on from there. And I've really always had a fascination with cutting edge science and products. I sort of have to come out as a health nut or a health geek because a lot of my entertainment, literally right to this day, right to last night, I spent a lot of my free time looking at healing ways, what's happening, who's doing what at many levels, whether it's hypnosis and psychic healing, or energy healing, radionics, and certainly what's going on in medical research that is really on the cutting edge of things. Because the thing that's interesting is there's so much happening on the frontiers of medicine that doesn't come down to doctors, MDs, who are in their daily practice. They're busy enough, and they're also really deeply connected with the pharmaceutical industry that supports them. And so they don't catch up. One doctor said it took 25 years for things to get into the medical books and into the way that the doctors are taught, that they find out and catch up. But I've always really been interested in what's actually going on right at the cutting edge. And, I've paid a lot of attention to my own health and wellness. I naturally have a very healthy body, although I've challenged it in many different ways. But I've really had no sickness that I can recall. I've had some accidents and challenged myself that way. But I've always worked very steadily and continuously to keep myself healthy. And I've offered you, my students and friends, different healing modalities and products over the years, things that I have used and been successful with, because there's no way I'd share anything with you that I don't really know something about and find that's good for myself. So always in the background has been my predilection for really attending to the physical world. There's a way of thinking in one of the native indigenous spiritual traditions I follow, where people are thought of as two different kinds of people. One is a dreamer. Dreamers are those people who are really connected to the subtle. They're very sensitive. They're connected to spirit. They're connected perhaps to their dead relatives. They're connected to the subtle realms, and they're very shamanic naturally. And really, my own predilection is a very different one. I'm what's sometimes called a walker, or other names, but that means that you go to spirit through the physical. So in some ways, it would be like a martial arts master, getting really, really good at a martial art, tuning into the subtle levels of that. And then most of them are invited to become healers as they grow into their maturity. So coming to everything through the physicality. I know my work for many years, I called embodying spirit. It's like, let's put it on the ground. And many of you know, maybe some of you even went to some of my camps and my wilderness experiences. I loved bringing people into the wilderness, getting them on the ground, running them, moving them, walking through the night without a flashlight, getting out there and really connecting to their own physical body and the spirit and life in the natural world. So that part of myself is really coming forward now, supported by White Buffalo Woman's answers to my prayers recently. And I realized that I would say that if I could sort of read her mind, certainly the way my mind is thinking, it's now vitally important and central, central to individuals and the planet to pay attention to health. Because in America and much of the modern world, we're some of the least healthy people comparatively. Here we are, this amazingly wealthy, forward-looking country in America, and our health system is horrible compared to many in the world. And our health is declining rapidly. Our fertility is declining. Our age, the age that normal people live to is declining. And so many things are going on. And of course, if you've paid any attention, you realize that food is the basis of that. The way it's done. We've gone from all these wonderful, simple farms using natural methods to a society where chemicals, pesticides, all of this chemical and big farming, big corporate farming, monocultures, and all these things that are really not bringing us what we need. All of these are what are holding sway and trying to get a hold of even more, kicking the small farmers off by starving them out in many different ways. And also the medical disease model. Our medical model is not about health and wellness. It's about disease and about using drugs from the big pharmaceutical companies to deal with the symptoms of that. And that's not health. Very well it isn't. Taking a pill to fix something is not fixing it. It's covering it up. And we are suffering so terribly from that. I understand there's something, I can't even think of it, Zypectrin or something out now, which they call it used to be a diabetes drug or something, and now they're touting it as a weight loss drug. You can lose 20 pounds just taking a pill. You don't have to pay attention to what you eat. You don't have to exercise. You don't have to do any of that stuff. It's not your fault. You just take this pill and you'll be fine. And what that pill does is kills your stomach function. So you can't put food into your body anymore. And it's absolutely horribly damaging. And they have hypnotized a lot of people into thinking it's great. Even Oprah on Weight Watchers is touting this. It's like, come on, people. This is literally killing people. So it's that weird idea we have that we can take a pill and make things all right. But my approach to health has always been health and wellness and start inside. What goes in, food and water, what's causing the symptoms, what's around you, the community, your people, the energy around you, the environment, the toxins and all of that. And, how to support yourself with any kind of healing magic you can. And most of that is natural in one way or the other. There's something about it that comes right straight from Mother, Father, Creators offering to us. So the most loving thing I can do is to support your wellness and aliveness. That baseline of physical health and wellness allows you to move toward all of the other things that are natural to you, which is your spiritual life and all those other things. So I'll definitely continue offering Indigenous wisdom and spiritual teachings. And I will definitely follow White Buffalo Woman's lead and offer you the very best I know. Offer you the very best things I've experienced. I'd feel negligent to do anything less. So as we go on in this series, I'll share a whole lot of wonderful things with you. And the next one that I'll be offering you is going to be called Good Medicine, talking about the best approaches to health that can be useful and beneficial for you. So thanks very much. Really wonderful to be with you as always. And all I can say is be very well.